We've got the 2010s, we've got the 2000s, the 1990s, and now it's time for the most important decade of shred guitar. Welcome to the top 10 solos of the 1980s. Here we go. Okay, this list was not easy. The 80s is the most important era, the most important decade for shred guitar, for rock guitar, for solo guitar. This decade, this era is just legendary. And to pick out only 10 solos from this kind of decade, that was not easy. Actually, this list is a lot more based on my personal experience, on my personal taste, but still, fuck you, it's my list, so I can do, like on the other list, whatever I want. Haha. So, as usual, my opinion could maybe differ from your opinion, but that's totally fine. But if you think, hey, I guess this solo should be on number 1, or whoa, this solo surprised me, or you forgot about this solo, then write it down in what? In the comments. And before we begin, please subscribe to this channel, hit the bell, leave a comment, leave a like, and all of this kind of stuff. And let's begin with number 10. And number 10 is a Dream Theater song from the 80s. Well, I have to do a list with Dream Theater in it because it is still the best, greatest, awesomest kind of band in the world. And yeah, they released in 1989 their first record, When Dream and They Unite, and I picked the solo from Fortune and Lies. A really cool solo with tapping in it, which you not see often in Petrucci's playing, to be honest. He's not really a tapping guy, but there he really shows that he has a really good, well-developed Eddie Van Halen kind of tapping technique. Cool build-up, cool shredding. Of course, everything from the Where Dream and They Unite is a little bit rough, a little bit, I would say, kind of unexperienced, because these guys, they were like 19 when they wrote this record and released this record, 2019, around that. So yeah, they didn't have that much experience in songwriting. But well, okay, after one okayish record, which is still pretty good, creating one of the best records ever existing in music, the Images and Words record, that's kind of a step, which is totally fine. So yeah, and here it is, my number 10, Fortune and Lies by Mr. John Petrucci from Dream Theater. Alright, number 9 is Stevie Ray Vaughan with Texas Flood. In my last video I talked about vibrato and phrasing, and Stevie Ray Vaughan was definitely one of the guitar players that I took a deeper look at when I realized I have to work a little bit more on my phrasing back in my early 20s. And especially Texas Flood has all of the, I would say, blues cliches in it, but really with a little bit more kind of modern perspective to it, but still with a lot of aggressive playing and really cool phrasing, and everything is so wild and with a lot of emotions in it, and I really love the solos. So if you are new into blues and so far thought that blues is only boring music, then check out my number 9, Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Number 8 is from Steve Vai. Now, Steve Vai released his most incredible records and most incredible music in the 90s, but still in the 80s he was a really well-respected guitar player and played in a lot of bands and with a lot of artists, and with none other than David Lee Roth, the vocalist of Van Halen, the ex-vocalist at that time from Van Halen. And on his first solo record, Eat Them and Smile, he released tons of really cool solos, because the difficulty here is the solos are not that long, and I for myself think it's always a lot harder to write a solo over a short section, to really tell the story with a solo over that short section, compared to having like 32 bars or whatnot. And especially in the song Ladies Night in Buffalo, he not only created a solo, which is the absolute peak and the absolute highlight of that song. The song around it is really okay. It's a little bit more chill, a little bit more laid back, but then in the solo everything opens up and really awesome. And there he shows us, typical kind of licks, Lydian playing, his typical kind of moving sweeps, moving across the fretboard, this going from here, you hear me, you may have seen this in some live videos or so, his phrasing, his legato playing, and even some of his picking playing. But still everything not like lick and then lick and lick, it's well connected and it tells a story. So here is my number 8, Ladies Night in Buffalo from Steve Vai on the David Lee Roth record. And number 7 we have a jazz solo from Pat Metheny. I had Pat Metheny quite sometimes here in this list now, but this solo was one of the solos that I grew up with. My father was, as I've mentioned in one of my early videos, one of the biggest Pat Metheny fans here in Germany, and I remember listening to this song a lot on a longer car trip to the beach or whatnot. And especially later when I started to study jazz, my guitar playing, this solo really opens a lot of doors for me and really showed me how beautiful and especially with how much energy you can have a jazz solo. I won't show you the full solo here, it's a little bit too long because that's jazz music, but I highly recommend to check out the full song and the full melody and the chords, and it's really awesome. Okay, and here it is, Minuano 6/8 by Pat Metheny. On number 6 we have Joe Satriani with Zatch Boogie. And this record, Surfing with the Alien, has such a big impact on me as a musician. I think I listened to this record the first time when I was like 13, 14 years old, and every song in this record has one of the most beautiful melodies that you can imagine. I know a lot of friends of mine who has nothing to do with guitar music who loves this record because it's so lyrical. There are so many great melodies on it, but also the solo and the shredding is top notch, Joe Satriani style, and really had a big impact and a lot of inspiration for me as a young starting guitar player. In Zatch Boogie we don't have that much of a great melody like in Ice 9 or in Surfing with an Alien or in And to Be With You. No, Not to Be With You. Always with me, always with you. To be with you is a different song. But here we have such a cool solo that showcase the blues roots from Joe Satriani, but also the shredding and a little bit the neoclassical kind of roots with the tapping in it. And yeah, I just can't say more about this solo than check it out. My number 6, Joe Satriani, Sag Boogie. Vinnie Moore, on the other hand, here released also really great instrumental records with also really tasteful solos in it. And here I decided myself for the song Race with Destiny. There he just shows everybody his trademark style. Fluent picking lines, fluent legato lines, extremely good phrasing, everything extremely clean and extremely tight. I love Vinnie Moore. I love the solo. I love how he plays together with Jordan Rudess on keyboard, by the way. Really awesome back in the 80s. So Vinnie Moore wins the race here for me. The Race with Destiny, my number 5. On number 4, I have a live solo from Scott Henderson, back in the day where he played with the Chick Corea Electric Band before another really awesome guitar player called Frank Gambale played there. And on the song Cockroach King, he made one of the most melodic and most grooviest, kind of funkiest solos ever. I mean, try to listen to that solo and not start bopping with your head, you know, grooving a little bit, dancing a little bit. I guarantee it will happen because this is so groovy, but it's also really musical how he communicate together with Chick Corea on the electric piano. Really awesome how they have some trade-off licks here and there, and yeah, the phrasing, the musical kind of aspects, the note choice from Scott Henderson here is just top notch. In this video, I took a transcription video from my good friend Levi Clay. You may have seen one of his videos, and if you don't know him, then go to his channel. Please leave a subscribe. Awesome guitar player and a master when it comes to transcriptions. And yeah, this video is from his channel. I've stolen it, but I stole it only to show you how awesome Levi Clay is and that you should consider subscribing to his channel. On number 3, we are in the 80s, and that means we need Yngwie. Yngwie! Yngwie! Love you, buddy. Yes, Yngwie Malmsteen. But also really hard, which kind of solo should I choose? Because he created one of the most legendary guitar solos in this era. But my decision went to the song Rising Force. And there especially the guitar, keyboard, pedal, everything in this F-sharp, Phrygian dominant kind of vibe. But here he also showed not only how extremely tight his picking is, how extremely well his note choices are, but also what kind of great phrasing and vibrato Yngwie has. So yeah, again, check out my last video where I talked about the phrasing stuff. So yeah, if you want to have a vibrato like Yngwie, then yeah, consider checking out the videos here in the info card. Or maybe here, somewhere above me. And I think this is one of the greatest solos from the 80s, Rising Force by Yngwie Malmsteen. So, number 2, okay, it's actually a solo from 1990, not really from the 80s, but I should have done this solo in the list from my 1990s section and I choose for a different solo. And this is Tornado of Souls by Marty Friedman. I mean, yeah, it is in the 1990s, but I have to mention this solo in the list, and I don't think that this solo needs a lot of introduction. I guess everybody of you knows this kind of solo, but yeah, it's one of the greatest solos ever written. And therefore the number 2 here, Tornado of Souls, Marty Friedman. Okay, number 1 is also emotional wise really important for me because I covered the solo from number 1. And then there was a guitar player who came across my cover. His name is Christian Münzner. And this cover blew him a little bit away. And after seeing this cover and having a little bit of contact with me, and yeah, he saw this cover, and a few years later, when there was a slot open in his famous extreme shredding power metal band Eternity's End, he thought, hey, there was this one guy in Germany who covered Paul Gilbert. When somebody can, now I spoiled it, it's from Paul Gilbert. When somebody can cover Paul Gilbert, then I should ask him if he want to play in my band. And yeah, now the rest is history. And the rest is one of the coolest power metal shred records that you have ever heard. Okay, I spoiled it a little bit, and in the 80s, Paul Gilbert played in a band called Racer X, and the solo I covered there was Street Lethal. Oh man, I mean this solo don't have much kind of phrasing and melody in it, and it's mostly shredding. But here Paul shows how you should shred, how you should make a technical focused, really fast solo, because even though it is a lot of shredding, it has so much energy in it. So it still has kind of melodic playing into it through the sequences that he uses, because you can be melodic with a lot of notes by playing interesting sequences like he does. And for me, yeah, this energy is important. I'm a man who loves this kind of energy, and yeah, so this is one of my favorite solos ever. Racer X, Street Lethal. Here we go.